inductee is Karl van Calcar, Edmonds High School class of 1983. Karl was a multi-sport athlete in cross-country, track, and field. He was a state champion in 1982 in cross-country as an individual and also leading his team to a state championship. He was a state champion in 1982 in track and field in the 3,200 meters and also helped his team win a state championship. He was a state champion in 1983 in track and field in the 3,200 meters with a time of 8:55.86. Now, that time there was a 3A state track and field record that held up for 29 years. He holds the fastest 3,200 meter time in school history with the 8:55.86. Edmonds High School, Woodway High School, and Edmonds Woodway High School. Karl earned a full ride to Oregon State University. He was a 5-time NCAA All-American, 2 in cross-country and 3 in track. He was an NCAA champion in the 3,000 meter steeplechase in 1988, Pac-10 champion in 1985 in the 5,000 meters, Pac-10 champion in 1988 in the steeplechase, a 3-time Olympic trials participant in the steeplechase. Karl was inducted into the Oregon State University Hall of Fame in 1994. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Karl van Calcar into the Edmonds Woodway High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Speaking on behalf of Karl tonight is his high school cross-country coach and track coach and friend, Coach Tom Kim.
This shirt and tie is for Art Snow. Before I start, I got to tell you about Karl. We were double A, the highest is triple A. In his senior year, double A goes before triple A. He ran and he won the double A. I didn't know this till afterwards, but we watched the triple A, and when it was done, he just went like this. And I said, "What's the big deal?" He said, "I was the fastest man on the course today." That's the kind of guy he was. It's an honor for me to be here. He was the best runner that I ever coached. And interestingly, of all the runners I coached him the least. He knew what he was doing. He was tough. He was a quiet guy. And honestly, I could be quiet too. And his sophomore year was his first year. We really, for some reason, didn't get along. I think part of it was he was raised by his parents to be very independent, and so I just kind of pushed myself away from him, and then after a while we got along fine. After Karl's NCAA steeplechase, he asked me if I would coach him. Between Karl and I, we figured out a training program that seemed to work pretty well for him. This was a thrill for me, as I got me coaching credentials, and I followed him to 3 Olympic trials and 1 World Track Championship in Gothenburg, Sweden. Karl is a power engineer in Palisade, Colorado, and married to Heidi. He has a son, Anders, and a daughter, Greta, who's a senior in high school and one of the top runners in Colorado. And Karl he's a busy man. He flies to Texas a lot because of his engineering stuff. But he started coaching cross-country and track about 4 years ago and is currently coaching his daughter and the Palisade team. So he and I communicate, and it's a real thrill to see him move into coaching, even though he's a full-time worker. Karl was legendary for moose hunting during the week of the Western Conference meet with his dad. And so he wasn't there. That kind of miffed me. Karl told me Monday, the week of Westco, I won't make it to Westco. And all of our good kids ran everything. They didn't miss meets. And I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "I'm going moose hunting." And I said, "Oh." And none of the kids have really ever done that. So I just said, and I believed him, but I said, "Are you sure?" And he says, "Yeah." And so I said, "Well, I'll just call your dad Hank tonight." So I called him up and I was contrite and humble, but I just said, apparently Karl's not going to be there. I'm just kind of checking. He's going moose hunting. And then Dad said something very politely. If it ever got between what family things and the cross-country team, the family comes first. And so then Karl wasn't there, but interestingly, my number 2 man, Doug Immels, won the Western Conference, so it was kind of neat. And then I told Karl after that, I said, hey, next year, Karl, plan the meet ahead and just let us know when the Western Conference meet is. He was also legendary for wearing dark green wool pants during his warm-up because he loved to hunt. So the dark green wool pants turned into green or blue camo pants, which you see today, which you will see on the Edmonds Woodway cross-country team. Because one of my captains, the next year after Karl graduated, he came up to me at the start of cross-country and he said, Coach, I've got something great. And I went, oh no, something I'm going to catch heck for, because we used to kind of skirt along the edge of life there a little bit with what we did. Some of the runners know. And I said, okay. And so the varsity boys had these camos. They had the camos made, and the rule that the kids had come up with is you had to be selected to wear the camos. You had to be good enough to wear them on the varsity. So the legend of Karl X lives on. To sum up Karl, he was a quiet guy who let his running speak for him. And thank you very much for honoring Karl.